Good morning, family, and welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Wednesday, January 7, 2009, and today we're reading Leviticus chapter 10. And we'll see at the beginning of this chapter, we read that Aaron's two sons actually bring an offering of fire to the Lord, and it says that it's not something that the Lord had commanded them to do, and therefore the Lord basically takes their life from them. And as I was reading, I was attempting to get an understanding of really what was done that was wrong, because it said that they brought a offering, which of course is good to bring to the Lord, but then it said it was something that the Lord commanded them not to, or didn't command them. I was thinking, was it something that the Lord told them not to bring, or was it just something that He hadn't commanded them to bring, and then they just was doing something on their own? And I really was attempting to get an understanding of that, and then I read further along down Scripture, and I got I believe some understanding of it, and this is what even Lessons for Life is about. What you keep this in mind as I explain these different things. This is how I see the Scriptures and what I get from the Scriptures, and if you have a different understanding, it's perfectly fine. It's really the point of this thing is for us to read the Bible and to encourage you to read the Scriptures and see what you get from it, and then we can share it together. But with this first two verses where Aaron's two sons, their lives taken from them, it was a little bit confusing. But then, as I read further down, I believe I got an understanding as to what exactly or what happened, because the Lord. This is the first time the Lord is speaking to Aaron after this happened, and He says to him that he should not drink strong wine or drink when he's entering into the tabernacle, neither him or his sons. And then it also says, because that way you'll know the difference between what is holy and unholy, what is clean and unclean, and I'll add myself what is right and wrong. And I believe this might have even, just because of, this is the first thing that the Lord is speaking to Aaron after what happened to his sons, because there's no reference of, them drinking or anything before, but I'm thinking this is what probably happened, is that they went to the tabernacle, they had drunk before. And then they brought an offering to the Lord, which wasn't what He had commanded them, as it says in those first two verses. So really going off of what the Lord spoke to Aaron later on in the chapter is what I'm going to bring up for today's Lessons for Life about really drinking strong wine or drink. And as I mentioned before today, that this is what I get from the Scriptures. And as we continue to read through the Word, I might get a better understanding, or even a clear understanding. But where it says about don't drink, strong wine or drink. Now, I've never personally had really a taste for alcohol or for wine or anything like that. And I drank wine before, but like I said, it's not really appealing to me in any way. But I don't personally, at this point right now, I don't see that there's actually something wrong with drinking wine, but it says don't drink strong wine and drink before going into the tabernacle. And my understanding of drinking what you call liquor or wine or things of that nature is, and it was really a friend of mine who actually was able to put it into perspective for me as I was growing up, that when you drink wine or when you get drunk or when you drink too much, then you really lose the perspective and you don't have full control over yourself. So that was why he wasn't drinking, and that's what he was telling me, and I kind of took that for myself too. Because like I said, I never really had I was never really interested in drinking anyway. But when you do drink of wine or liquor or alcohol, any kind of alcoholic beverage, you do lose control of yourself to an extent. And that's even the Scriptures here saying that they would not know the difference between what is holy and unholy, what is clean and unclean, and as I added, what is right and wrong. So that's one reason why, or that's one lesson I want to bring up for Lessons for Life about even drinking, and why I don't personally, the reason why I personally wouldn't recommend it, like I said, for myself, I don't even like it, but why wouldn't you recommend it for another person? Because when you do that, then you do lose control over some things that you do. That's why they don't want you to drive after you had too much alcohol or whatever, because you don't have the control of your body like you would normally have. And when you don't have control, then that means that you can't really control what's going on. I guess I'm using the same words to define it, but I wouldn't like that feeling that I'm not in control of what's going on, or what my body is doing, how I'm feeling, and so forth. So that's why I wouldn't recommend drinking alcoholic beverages or anything like that. That's the reason why I don't personally do it. Also, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else to do too. So really, with that was today's lessons for life of what I got from this chapter. It's really, like I said, I believe that is what had happened with Aaron's sons. Why that's the first thing the Lord is speaking to him about. After his two sons are their lives are taken from them, so to say. And that's a good lesson. I mean, whether that was or not, that actually is still a great lesson for life, I believe. Just understanding, what happens to your body when you do take on drink alcoholic beverage and things of that nature, that you lose control and you might end up doing something. And many people, I've seen stories or heard stories, whatever, that they've done so many different things that they wouldn't have, let's say, normally have done or in their right mind have done, and then afterwards they're waking up and they're regretting it and all this other stuff. So that is today's lessons for life. And as always, if you have any additional comments or if you have any thoughts on this chapter or on even what I said, you can email us and we'll put it on the blog. And create yourself a wonderfully blessed day today. We will talk again tomorrow.